Hi guys, my name is Clay, and in today's tutorial video, we're going to be going over everything you need to know about having multiple profiles inside of Fina. So inside of Fina, the first concept that you'll run into is our profiles concept. Profiles is essentially a container that includes your accounts, your transactions, your categories, and your rules. And basically this is where you connect all of your live financial accounts, and we pull in all of the data for you so that you can categorize all your transactions and make sure that you have live, clean, and accurate financial data. So the cool part about Fina, as opposed to a lot of the other tools that are out there, is we allow people to have multiple profiles. And what this means is that we create a separate container for different accounts that you want to connect within Fina. Now, the reason that people might want to do this is because a lot of people may have a side business, or maybe they have a business and they want to be able to manage everything under one roof, but have a layer between their accounting. So for example, in this personal profile, I've linked up all my personal accounts, and I'm able to see all my personal transactions here. I'm able to set up a very specific category schema just for my personal accounts. And then I'm able to create rules on top of these transactions to automatically bucket my transactions into the proper categories, so that essentially all my accounting for my personal finances is done in one spot. Now, this is great, but if I were to add all my business accounts into this same profile, one of the issues that you might run into is that you would end up having a very long category list, and you're gonna have to add additional categories for your business accounts, and it really doesn't make sense from an accounting layer to mix those things. And then also from a legal standpoint, a lot of times you're required to have your business and your personal accounts separated to ensure that, you know, if you have an LLC, you're complying with different standards in terms of the liability side of things. So both from a legal standpoint, from a clarity standpoint, and an accounting standpoint, we allow people to have multiple profiles. And multiple profiles don't just help if you're trying to separate out your personal accounts and your business accounts, but they also help if you want to manage multiple people under one Fina account. So for example, a lot of people use Fina where they'll have their spouse linked under the same account. Maybe they'll have their grandparents in there, or maybe they'll have other members of the household, parents or kids, under one large family unit, and they want to split those things out so that they can see people on an individual basis and help them to do their own accounting. So inside of the profiles, you'll notice that, again, the core concepts are the same. You have accounts, transactions, categories, and rules. Same for business. I've linked up a couple business accounts here. We have accounts, transactions, categories, and rules. One thing I'll say across these different profiles, the main difference is that you're linking different accounts into these different profiles. And so one thing that's cool about Fina that you can do is you can see this little toggle here, and you're always able to go and check all the different accounts that you have linked up in this Fina or this general Fina account. And you can actually swap these between different profiles if you need to. So if I take this Chase Business Inc. account, for example, and I want to change the profile, I can move this to a new profile if I wish. So if I accidentally link an account in one area and I need to change the profile, I can absolutely go and do that. It's very simple to create a new profile. I can just click this plus new profile button right here. I'm just gonna call this test profile 2. And then one of the options we give is we allow you to enable or disable the manual transaction review. So for this, we're gonna go ahead and enable it and click create. And now let's go over to this new test profile that we just created. As you can see here, we have no accounts linked in this particular profile. Obviously, there's not going to be any transactions here, but we will have a default category list that appears inside of this test profile. So again, like I mentioned, in any new profile, people might want to completely change their list of categories. So just as a quick example, I'm going to actually go ahead and erase all of these categories to start from scratch, and just show you guys real quick that it is very easy to create these category lists and actually add AI classifications as well. But instead of adding these all one by one, I'm gonna go to this account called business categories. I actually created a category list specifically for business finances here. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to say I want to share this list of categories. So I can copy this little link right here. This link is the sharing link that I have already enabled for this particular business list of categories. I'll click copy to import. There's another really easy way of doing this where I can come into this test profile, come into categories, and just import directly from another profile. So I can just say like, hey, I want to import the list of categories from this business profile. But if you're actually taking this from a completely different person or different user and not within your own profile, you can always go and grab that little ID you can come in here and you'll click import categories, and then I'll go ahead and click from an external ID just to show you guys how this works. I'll drop the ID. I can decide if I want to include the categories and the rules or just the categories. So for this, we'll just include the categories. And voila, we've created a new profile for business that has imported all of these different lists of categories that are specific to business accounts. So again, this is awesome because inside of Fina, we're able to separate out these profiles, and you can imagine a ton of different use cases that you could do in terms of splitting up your accounting and why you might want to change the buckets for these different accounts. So think about profiles as the container for these different tabs and sections at the top, and primarily these are for connecting and cleaning your data. Now, to show you from a page or reporting standpoint how profiles actually work, I'll come in here and let's click this block right here called total expenses. I'm gonna go ahead and click edit. And as you can see here, the very first thing that you'll notice on this block is the account selection. So by default, we actually select all of the accounts that you have connected within Fina. So right now, all these other test profiles don't actually have any live accounts in them. The only two that have live accounts are personal and business. So those are the only two options that you guys are gonna see here listed. Now, if I actually select these business accounts, it's gonna do this exact same block, meaning it's gonna show me the total expenses for the previous month across all my personal accounts and all my business accounts. So the really cool part about Fina is all these blocks are fully customizable, and you can decide on any page whether you wanna have mixed reporting across your profiles or just reporting for one single profile. So again, right now we have both business and personal linked up, so I can see the total expenses across my business and personal mixed together, or I can deselect business altogether and I can just see my personal accounts. So that's the benefit of having multiple profiles and being able to split things out, is you could have pages that do reporting either mixed or totally separate. Now, the last thing I will mention is when you click on any of these numbers within Fina, so if you're looking at this total expense block right here, and I wanna actually see my total expenses, you'll notice here that if I click this, I'm able to see the total expenses, and I'm actually able to see all my transactions that are happening here within Fina. And the cool part is I can actually change these transactions or change these categories right on the spot as I'm kind of auditing this block to make sure it looks correct. So I can change those. Now, the only caveat is if I actually select the business accounts here, I'm still able to see all the transactions mixed across those profiles, but I can no longer edit that category. That's because these are two different category schemas and it makes it a little bit difficult to manage. So just know that if you're not able to actually edit those categories directly within this kind of audit view where you're kind of checking for what transactions are making up this block, the reason is because you have multiple profiles, and if you did want to edit, you would need to deselect so that you have one profile and one category schema to choose from. So that's how that works. That's how reporting works inside of Fina. That's the gist of multiple profiles. Again, you can set up your own category schemas. You can always share your category schemas with external users or import them directly into other accounts. But again, the common use cases we see for this are managing multiple people under the same household or managing business and personal finances under one roof. We even have people that are managing real estate projects or that have many, many profiles because they're trying to do something a little bit more complicated. So if you have an interesting use case, feel free to reach out to us. But that's how profiles work. That's why multi-profiles are so powerful, and the reporting in Fina is very flexible to accommodate all of these needs. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.